Hello, welcome to the EP7 podcast. You are here with Rachel Donovan and the founder of EP7, Mr. George Helou.
Thanks, Rachel, and thank you for joining us. We love talking about how to get the heart into everything we do to get a lot out of life.
Whether it be relationships, business, careers, you name it. So, let's get started. George?
Yes?
A question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think you're a people pleaser?
Yes, I am someone who pleases a lot of people, but I know what you're asking. And yeah, I used to be a shocking people pleaser where I was too afraid to be unpopular. So I'd definitely go way beyond my means in trying to be there for people. What about you, Rach? You're just selfish. You don't care.
Well, do you know what? I don't know. I don't think I'm an outright people pleaser. I'm sure there's times that probably, yes, I have made decisions to please others, definitely. But I actually find I find that if I know that I'm going to overcommit myself or it's something that perhaps I can't do, I actually tend not to agree to it.
So how do you avoid feeling like you're going to be seen as selfish or not caring? Because obviously this is a very mature stance that you have, Rachel. Very balanced with oodles of perspective.
It's more because I hate going back on my word. So if I feel like it's not something that I can do, then I can't agree because I feel, my friends will call me out on it too because then I'll go quiet and then like, because I won't say, yeah, let's, and go along.
Yeah, you've done that to me. You've done that to me many times. It's true. I'm not joking. Like I'll get caught up with doing something and then you're like, no response. And then I'm going, okay, she's a nice person. She's not responding because she doesn't want to burst your bubble, but she's got stuff in her head right now that's complicating being able to say yes. So do yourself and her a favour and let her off the hook. Ask her what's going on. And I swear, your silence is actually talking to me. You're funny.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. You're funny. You've just analysed my silence. But there you go.
Yeah. Do you know, Rach, how you said that you care a lot about not letting people down? This is something that I really hold dear to. Like I hate saying, yeah, I'll be there for you and not be there for someone. And obviously I don't like it when I'm on the receiving end too. But the biggest problem with people pleasing when it's not sustainable, in other words, everyone's saying yes to everyone to the point where it's not practical. So you end up letting people down, and that's the thing. People pleasers are struggling to fulfill all their promises. Then they get really clever at lying and making excuses for not being able to be there for you at the last minute, like a no-show or a last-minute excuse to get out of it. And that's not, people are going to stop trusting you and respecting you and relying on you if that's the way you treat them. You set an expectation and you don't even come close to delivering. But why? Why do people... See, now I feel like I can't ask you too much, but maybe I can ask you not from your own personal experience, but what you think is going on. Why do people please beyond their means, like too far where it's not even sustainable?
Because is it a sort of, I don't know, I've definitely done this, because you want to be liked or be felt like you're needed or wanted.
Yeah, but no, that's the part where you're just pleasing someone. You're doing it for those reasons, right? Mm-hmm. That's cool. I think we all share that to a degree. Unless we're rebelling, against that because we were doing it too much and we got used up or hurt or whatever. But generally, it's fine. But what I want to know is, why do we push it too far where it's unsustainable?
Do we not want to be seen as incapable?
See, interesting. You're yeah, I guess that could play a role, that we want to prove to people that we can do whatever they need from us. And so we're too eager, even though we may not have the time. Yeah. But also...
But that's not what you're alluding to.
No, I think the word no is a very confronting thing. Like, we don't like to say no because we feel like we're telling the person we don't care about them. Like, we don't care about their needs.
Definitely. It's very difficult to say no.
That's why you go silent.
Yeah.
It's like, how do I say no without feeling cold, callous, cruel? Maybe my wonderful indirect nature will still be able to communicate to them. So, yeah, we don't like saying no. And I personally think that no can be said in many, many ways. So why can't we say it in a way that comes across with compassion and caring?
Of course. Because it's definitely possible. It's silly to think that we can't say no.
Yeah. And also, we want to give, and giving is an important part of our everyday success, giving value, right? But nature doesn't just give and not receive. Otherwise, species, animals, plants, these things will die very quickly if they're not receiving back nourishment and what they need in return. So we have an interesting relationship even with a tree, where it will give us oxygen, we give it carbon dioxide. We are giving and receiving what each other need. That is the most basic form of understanding, that interconnectivity for sustainable relationships is the key to nature thriving. So I wrote this recently in a blog article, right? But look at us. We're so dysfunctional that we're so invested in giving, that we're so busy giving, we don't even breathe and pause and create an ability to receive or be responsive to receiving. Like, I personally have witnessed people so busy giving that it's like a turnstile. If you spin it too quick, you can't get in. Like, I want to get in there and give something to that person, but they're so busy giving, there's no way in. I've witnessed that recently. And also, you know what it does? It portrays that I so got my act together that I don't have any needs. So when someone's too invested in giving all the time, they create this personal brand and this aura that, they're not wanting for anything. They don't need anything. And you know what happens? When someone offers, let me pay for that, or, let me do this for you, they go, no, it's okay. It's almost like, no. If I receive, they'll think that I was only giving to receive. Isn't that bizarre? It's like, I'm not being a genuine giver if I have this agenda to want to receive back. That's not true giving. Where the hell do these ideas come from? Because I know we're raised with them. But do they make sense, Rach?
No, they don't.
But they're rampant. They're everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people would rather run themselves into the ground than be seen as being selfish or not wanting to help. Yeah.
And there's a martyrdom in that. In other words, if I self-sacrifice, then people are going to realize how wonderful I am, that I even forget myself. And I loving. I've taken loving to such an elite level, I've forgotten to eat. People actually rave about how they've neglected themselves because they were so busy giving to everyone else. I think I've done that a few times too. Shh. So what does that mean? It means it's not sustainable and there are serious consequences to being this way. We get depleted, drained, and then we end up getting bitter and resentful because for some reason the world doesn't seem to care about us no matter what we've given. That ends up being the conclusion a people pleaser will reach routinely. And they get hurt. They feel like they're being used up. but not realizing they're making it hard. And you know what else you do? You end up breeding codependence around you, where people get spoilt into just receiving from you without them ever feeling that reciprocating is not just of merit, not just of merit, but critical. Because, you just gave me $1 worth of value. Thank you so much. Thank you for that $1 worth of value and your attention, that whatever you did. And then you know what that does for me? It lifts me. It motivates me. But what am I going to do with that motivation, Rach? I'm going to give you $1 worth of value from me, with where I sense you would value what I would like to do, right? And then what does that do for you? It motivates you, makes you want to reciprocate. Isn't that fundamentally our nature? So you know what's weird? The dollar just keeps going backwards and forwards. So isn't that the law of energy? Energy doesn't get created or destroyed. It just keeps changing form. So I move it into a form you value, you give me a form that I value, and we're just playing with energy between us. I find that really interesting, because if you understand energy in this way, and that we are all energy, then suddenly giving without receiving is reckless, irresponsible, and hence why it's unsustainable.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting what you said before, though, about how you then breed the codependence.
Yeah.
About people around you. I mean, I've seen that happen with people that I know as well, where they get frustrated because people around them then become so dependent, and I don't like using lazy, but it looks that way. And it's just like, it's because they've just been accustomed to someone just doing things for them all the time, that it's just the norm.
It also gets worse, because if you stop, you've betrayed them. Now you're a villain. So you've gone from giving them way too much, and now you're an enemy. And the reason why people can be codependent like that and get used to receiving is because there's an insecurity in us where we are feeling stretched. We are hoodwinked into there's not enough in the world. So we end up being a little drained. And if we're low on confidence, we feel vulnerable that what we've got to give may not be valued, and we fear rejection. So there's a whole world of reasons to be afraid to give, right? Might not be valued, might not, So when someone comes along and says, oh, don't worry, I'm giving you a free ticket. You don't have to worry about giving it all. Look at me. I'm just a giver. You could just chill out and stay in receive mode. That's the unspoken agreement when you're giving, and there's no sense of, gosh, when are you going to cook me that meal? Or when are you going to do? I love giving you, but I need to see some reciprocation. You're more than capable. That doesn't happen. There's an unspoken agreement that, oh no, I'm just going to keep giving, but my heart wants to know that you want to give back, and I expect it, but my brain's not programmed to allow it. But I don't get to confront the fact that I'm conflicted in myself and complicating the whole situation. I get to see you as a scapegoat, that you're just a user. But if I could go a little deeper and see the fact that you're insecure, you're taking the path of least resistance, which is becoming codependent on me, taking an easy way out because you're scared, you're motivated by fear. If I could see all that, then I wouldn't create a codependent relationship. I'd build your confidence, and I'd motivate you as I give to reciprocate. So if I keep that going, then you will grow with me in confidence, and our relationship gets really strong. So I gave someone this analogy recently where it's like weaving a basket. Yeah. So when you interweave, the point is you've woven an action, but then you have to weave the other one to create an interlocking, interweaving. And when so if I give something to you and you value it, and then you give something to me and I value it, that's an interlocking of a relationship where the give and receive works for both of us. And if we do it again and do it again, eventually the depth of a bond and the interlocking creates such strength between us that I become easily able to trust and respect what I get from you that I'll value, and vice versa. Can you see that suddenly, if anything goes wrong in our lives, we're too strong. We can hold the weight of whatever issues are going on between us because of that interlocking. In other words, I'm not ready to doubt you or throw you down the river because all I've done is ever give, and the reciprocation hasn't been there. So when you weave part of the basket, expect the other part to come in and interlock, and then you then weave. And so we should be weaving a basket together. Not me set up every single thread waiting for you to one day magically interweave it all in one go on your end. That's not how you weave a basket. So do you find that interesting if you slow it down like that and go, well, I'll give. And by the way, I'm not saying be petty. I'm not saying, count
it and...
Yeah, exactly. I'm waiting for that dinner because I cooked you. No, if you cook a few dinners, and because the circumstances kept that other person from reciprocating, you can afford to stretch a little. That's no big deal. You're not going to be depleted if you're ahead a little bit here or there. We're talking about a chronic pushing of giving to the point where you've cooked friggin' 10 dinners and that person hasn't even reciprocated. And I see that. I have a lot of clients say to me, they've done so many things. They paid for everything, all the bills. They did all the cooking, like everything. And then you know what ends up happening? Those that are most exploitive, they can tune in and find those givers. Because the way they carry themselves, their story is like, you're exactly someone I need. And then you end up attracting needy people that will exploit you because they already can see the signs and they're looking for someone because they've already been codependent, burnt a relationship already, and they're ready for the next one. And they're not even that conscious of this, Rachel. It's not like they're, all right, who am I going to exploit next? It's not even that premeditated. It's almost like an instinctive, subconscious-driven, opportunistic thing where you're attracted to someone. You don't even know why you're attracted to them. And that's what's causing that. So isn't that interesting that if you're a people pleaser, you're going to attract people that will exploit you? Not because their heart wants it, but it's just that they're in the habit too.
Yeah. So how do we become better at receiving or not being that people pleaser?
Well, you don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater, right? So you don't want to rebel to the other side because a lot of people do. Yeah. A lot of people that never want to commit to anything, they never agree to anything, they rarely say yes to anything. That's because they've been too burnt. So you definitely don't want to go the extreme other side. I think you need to trust that there's enough people in the world that want to give back, that you need to slow it down and know that you're worth it. I think a lot of times worthiness is an issue here. And that maybe you're not paying attention to the difference you're making in your life. Because you're so busy giving, you're not actually slowing down and feeling the difference you're making. And what if you're not making a difference? Should you keep giving? Sounds to me like we should pay more attention. So if we can get very present with what we're giving, why we're giving it, and what impact it's making, and what influence in behavior it's having on the person we're giving. Are they looking to reciprocate? Are we awkward and saying, oh, no, it's fine? Because I swear we do that. If we slow it down and notice we're doing this, then we need to start challenging ourselves to be uncomfortable and receive with grace instead of awkwardness. And maybe we need to rehearse it. Maybe we need to imagine someone wanting to do something nice for us feeling awkward and going, well, how would I respond and allow that person to give me in a way that would make me feel like I'm grateful and they know it and I don't have to be awkward about it. And so I would definitely spend daily time exploring how to give with attentiveness to the difference we're making, so that way you feel like you've given. It's not almost like a black hole where you just frantically give and not feel it coming back. If you do that, then you'll feel worthy because you've made a difference. And I'm not saying you should feel worthy because you gave, but you definitely should feel valued for giving and that you deserve reciprocation just like nature. And you should be willing to be confused and ask questions to people that aren't reciprocating. And you should be willing to cut ties, even temporarily, with those that don't want to be logical about reciprocating, who want to make excuses and who want to keep receiving and who want to feel betrayed, even though you're coming from the heart, speaking compassionately that this is not sustainable and you need to be a better team. In other words, if you want to continue to give and you don't make sure that you're included, find a way where you're included. The imagination is amazing. Find a way where you matter too while you're giving, where you're allowed to receive all the time too. And if you can't find a way, then slow down the giving so that you don't drain yourself and keep working on finding a way. Because there is always a way. And start to talk to other people that are more balanced and talk about how they do it. Mm-hmm. There's a whole world to discover where you can be included too.
Yeah.
Sound like a plan?
It does. And I think following on from this, it's just crossed our mind, we did do a podcast which was being okay with saying no. And I think that this would be another one, one to listen to as well.
I think a lot of these ideas were reinforced in that one, so we definitely should link it for sure.
Yeah, that's great. Fantastic.
Cool.
Well, thank you, George.
Thank you.
Thanks for chatting to us about people pleasing, and thank you for listening. We'd love to chat to you again soon.
Yeah. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us on another EP7 podcast. If you liked what you heard, remember to share and subscribe so you're notified of every podcast released. If you have any questions or would like to connect with us, please jump on the EP7 official Facebook page. We'd love to hear from you.